Welcome, guys. It's another episode of Fight Talk Live. We're back. It's Danny Glover. It's October Red. How you doing today?
Listen, all the better for seeing you, Danny. You know what it is. And yes, SWJ in there nice and quick with the quickness, nice and early today. Just the way I like it, SWJ. I don't necessarily like it fast, but I definitely like it early.
Well, I guess hot video though. He's claiming he got there first.
You don't know what kind of video that is.
Well, I don't know. That's what they call themselves. So shout out hot video. Not too familiar with you, but thank you for joining. So yes, this week has been, I'd say, too eventful. Um,
Your events.
I don't even think it's even finished yet. Uh, Shout out Star Fox. But yeah, so many fights to talk through. Um, we can start even from Friday night um, with Josh Kelly versus Biu.
Yeah,
Bayu. Yeah,
Babe.
Bayu. Oh, here we go. Hold on. Let's get him in. You ready to come? Shout out Daniel Botang. So yeah, Friday night we had the Wasserman card, Josh Kelly versus uh, Bu. What did you go? What did you think of it? October? Did you manage? Oh, that was on Channel Five, right? So you should have seen that one.
You know, I didn't watch the Josh Kelly fight. I'm so sorry. I fell asleep. I do that. Sometimes when it gets around 9, 10 o'clock, I fall asleep. But what I do want to say before we go any further is shout out to you two for introducing me to that young potential star, Lucas Rohrig. Very impressed with him. And I've got to give credit to you guys for the videos that you sent me, for the fact that you guys says, yo, keep an eye on this guy, this cruiserweight from the UK. And what I saw from him, he's so compact. He's so tidy. I love the way he puts his shots together. I understand he may have been frustrated because he wanted to get the stoppage, but what I'm seeing there is, the up and coming like rise of a potential star because he's just so good at the sport. He's cute, he's compact, and I like the way he puts his shots together. And he just seems unfazed. He's got this dead poker face in the ring. So I've got to say thanks for telling me about him because if it wasn't for you guys, I wouldn't have watched that part of the show.
No
Yeah, no,
worries.
yeah. No, you're welcome. And yeah, just to let you know that um, Lucas Rohrig, he's back out end of the month on the 28th. So that's two fights this month in
Active.
the Nielsen Boxing slash TM14 show, which is headlined by Daniel Francis versus Joel Kaduya, who's Tunde's fighter. So yeah, loving the activity. So yeah, base. What did you think about the Wasserman card, Josh Kelly?
You know I didn't watch that shit.
I didn't know because weren't much to
No, but
see, was
I'm
it?
telling you, I ain't watch it. I did have designs to watch the Rohrig fight. Um, it was late. Obviously, I was doing things again. I've got other commitments now, so frequently, sometimes I'm here, sometimes I'm not able to. But that was not something that was in my conscious at that time. So, no, didn't watch any of it.
Okay. All right. Well, I'll give you guys a quick rundown because it weren't even much to see. Josh Kelly come out. He looks like he's definitely filled out in the weight. He hit the guy with a little double left hook. Weren't even much powering on it. The guy went on the floor and just didn't bother
So,
getting up.
Danny, apologies, right? This is a big week, right? There's been about 7 different cards on, a bunch of other stuff. There's a lot of other news. In my opinion, and obviously you guys can tell me if I'm wrong. Do we need to hear anything about Josh Kelly? Like, is it really worth talking about? Can we move on, please?
Yeah, well, that's it. That's the fight. He hit
Okay,
him with double
cool.
left hook. Guy didn't get
Let's
up.
go to the next thing. Let's go to the next thing.
So
I'm on that time today because there's a lot of stuff that's worth talking about rather than Flavius Beer. You know what I mean?
But
well,
yeah,
you guide us, base. You guide us,
You know
base.
what?
Where do
Yeah.
you want
Let
to
me.
go?
All
Sean,
right. Let me take. I'll take control of the show. All right. So I think it's only right. There was look, like I said, there's a lot of cards on. Um, I think let's stick to the main cards, the main topics, the main things that people want to talk about. So first off, let's just go straight to Fabio Wardley, Justice Hooney. Forgetting the undercard.
Yeah,
The
same. So I
only
didn't watch it.
yeah, the only fight I saw was Pierce O'Leary and Liam Dillon. It ended the way I thought it would end, but main event. Let's talk about that now. October, I want to come to you first.
Yeah, yeah.
Because obviously last week you had said, talk to me about Justice. I've not really been sold on anything that I've seen, but I've heard stories, and then you was talking about your conversation with Dave Allen.
Yep.
So what I'd like to ask you about this fight was, number one, has your opinion of Justice changed since then? Has he
Yeah,
gone
shot
up in
through the
your
roof.
estimation?
Shot through
Has
the
he
roof.
gone down? Okay, and how
Shot
did you see
through
the?
the
What
roof.
do you think of the fight?
I thought it was a damn good fight. I thought that he was breaking down Fabio, breaking him down. And when I say that, his attack was consistent. He reminds me a little bit of Joseph Parker in his stature and in the way that he moves around. I like the fact that he was swooping under to go on the attack. The way that he was putting his shots together, he's got such fast hands. The way he's throwing his 1, 2, 3s together, he was continuously able to push back Fabio Wardley that was in the fight. There's not, I'm not going to say that my man wasn't in the fight, but he was starting to break him down. Fabio was throwing his own shots. Yes, I'd say 1 or 2 of them were impactful shots. But to me, Justice was the more dominant boxer. He was a pleasure to watch. Dave Allen was absolutely right in everything that he told me on the interview that never went out because there's no sound. But yeah, my opinion of him is shot through the roof. Obviously, Fabio landed that shot clean there, which obviously put my man down on the floor. I didn't do the count. I know I've seen some things on X about the counts a bit ropey, a bit dodgy, a bit quick. That weren't a 10 count. But I did see that Justice he didn't look right on his legs when he got up. So I thought, okay, that's a fair stoppage. Fabio did what he did. I don't like the fact that Fabio's being compared to Deontay Wilder because Fabio can box, has showed that he can box better than Deontay because he doesn't just rely on knocking you out. He can knock you out. That's the difference. And we've seen that time and time again. So I don't like that comparison. I think Fabio, yes, he was losing. He was. I did say the only way he's going to win this fight now is if he gets a knockout, and that's exactly what he did. And that's how you win fights, especially when you're behind on the cards. Credit to both of them. I can't wait to see Justice back out again. Definitely gained a fan in me. I don't know what fights I was watching. Maybe it was just the Lorena fight that put me off. But I've had to eat humble pie with him. Absolute credit. What an amazing fighter.
Cool. No worries, Danny. What was your thoughts on the fight?
Yeah, I thought it was a very good fight. I know people talk about the Kevin Lorena thing, but you have to remember Kevin Lorena put Daniel Dubois down 3 times,
That's
and
what I'm. Yeah.
in most rule books, the 3 knockdown rule, if it were in effect, it would have been all over. So Kevin Lorena ain't a joke. But yeah, for Fabio Wardley, I gave him the second round. Other than that, I had him losing 8-1 going into the 10th. He was taking some big shots all night, left hooks, right hands, and he kept. When I'm looking at him, he's like doing these weird lapsy daisies, like he's losing concentration, just looking at the floor, and he kept dipping down, eating shots, and I was like,
Yeah. When he was on the ropes.
whether he's on the rope or in the middle of the ring, you just he just kept looking like he's not concentrating, or he's like daydreaming, and he's just getting hit in the face clean. His hands needed to go up. He kept having his hand low.
Yeah. Lead
I'm,
hand low.
I am. Listen, Ben Davison. I don't know what he's doing, but he needs to stop this one trick pony thing he's trying to do. This whole bait him in, and I watch all this film study and bait him in, and just throw that party trick over the top. You can't rely on that because Fabio took a lot of big shots. The body shots was really starting to affect him as well in there. And Justice Huni, he hits harder than people think, because when I was there live, the shots was very big. It's a good thing Fabio's got a very good chin.
Fair enough.
He managed to pull it out the bag with that big shot. But man, he knows that he didn't box well and he's got things to work on. But the defense definitely needs work, because that will become an undoing of him in the end if he doesn't learn to tighten up the defense, because he was taking far too many shots and far too many lapsing concentration shots where he's not even looking at the shot. He's getting hit and not even it doesn't. I don't know if he's even bracing for it because he's not even seeing them coming because he's looking at the floor or he's just looking elsewhere and then getting clapped. But Justice Hooney, very good boxer. His stock's risen in my opinion. Eddie Hearn must be in dire straits, thinking I had this all sewn up. Frank Warren was like chuckling, like I got you again. It was a great night, sold out. Ipswich Town. That I'm telling you, them streets. He's got that toughness from them streets, man. It ain't a joke.
Okay, so look quickly on this one. Obviously, I'll speak about this a lot over the week, I'm sure. I thought the fight played out pretty much the way I thought it would, except I did think that Fabio would be a lot more competitive from like rounds 4 onwards. But I predicted that Justice would win the fight unanimous decision. I toyed with giving a stoppage victory. At one point, I was going back and forth. This was literally one of the hardest fights I've went to predict. It took me all the way up until Thursday night to finally put in my picks for my predictions league. I had Fabio winning TKO in the 10th at one point. I had Justice winning by split decision. I had Justice winning unanimous. I had Fabio winning unanimous. Ultimately, the thing what I thought was, okay, Justice who needs faster feet, faster hands, better combinations, and a lot more head movement. Fabio, I do think he has the he's got the strength, he's got the power and the grip, but he has these very big lapses in concentration. Not only that, he has an awful defense. There is absolutely no way that you can be mid-range to inside with your opponent and you've got your lead hand low. Like that's criminal. And
Suicide.
I don't understand how someone gets away with that. On the outside, cool, it's fine. You keep it there so someone gets fixated. But when they're in the position to hit you, why is your hand down here rather than up here to block your face? Also, his right hand is never by his chin or anywhere high. It's always here.
Yeah, yeah.
This doesn't
Under it.
protect anything. That can't protect anything. So they really need to, and that's probably muscle memory. That might even be his skeletal frame structure, maybe where he feels comfortable. He's going to have to get uncomfortable because if you're going to be eating those shots, it's lucky Justice is a fast puncher. He's
Mhm.
probably he's a fast and he's a heavy puncher, probably not a hard, powerful puncher. And I think that's obviously the thing that's gotten Fabio through that because there's several times those body shots were getting sunken in, and you could see Fabio visibly. He doesn't have a good poker face. When he's hurt, you can tell that he's hurt. And like the difference between him and the Frazier Clark in that first fight, Frazier always kind of looked in control of himself, whereas Fabio always kind of looked like he was in either a panic or a moment of, all right, I've got to get you now. And Justice Hooney was just able to read those tells all night. It was an almost perfect performance from Justice until he then decided to get a bit jumpy when he didn't have to. He could have carried on trying to do the breakdown thing, but I know he probably thought, okay, I've kind of got him now. My output's dropped a little bit, but I've got more energy than him. He went for it, and in that moment, Fabio decided to he got a blessing from the Lord and decided he just threw a shot. I don't even think he really planned that shot. It came out, and then unfortunately because Justice had his whole body going into the shot, it
Mhm.
doubled the impact straight on the chin, right at the point of impact, straight down, and yeah, at that point, no. What I wanted to say initially was when I was watching it live, obviously they didn't show you the full count, but it looked, I saw him up on his feet and I saw the referee wave up. I'm like, I need to see that again. That looked a bit
Okay.
sus. I then see the footage from the Queensbury account. The referee, I counted, and from what I counted, the referee stopped the fight at like 8.5. Now,
Ooh.
and that's the thing is, look, seconds, it's not seconds, it's a 10 count. It's the referee's 10 count. I get that. But usually, especially considering in the UK, the rule is, from what I've told, what Lyndon Arthur said and Sonny Edwards has said, you have to be on your feet and ready to go by 8 in the UK. If
Mhm.
not, then they can waive it off. But if that's the case, you can't be giving someone a 10-second count and then stop it at 8. Like, do your 10 count, give them the opportunity to get to their feet, then assess them. Justice Hooney was on his feet before the count of 10, look in his eyes,
I think he was gone.
ask, he may have been, but here's the thing, ask, okay, do you want to continue? You ask him, you assess, you have a look, then you decide to waive it off. At that point, my issue is, he's so far ahead in this fight, he can suffer that knockdown and still win. You've actually got to knock him down and knock him down another 3 or 4 times, maybe just to get a draw. Because I had him 9 rounds up at that point, and all the scorecards, there was one of them was 8 rounds, one of them was 7 rounds to 2, and the other 2 were 8 rounds to 1, like what Danny had. So that one knockdown doesn't change the outcome of the fight unless the referee waves it off. Now, in that moment, the other issue I had is the referee's count was extremely fast. Like I've seen the video multiple times. He picks it up obviously from 5 from the timekeeper, but it's like 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, done. Like how is the guy supposed to get any traction there? And even then, all right, let's say he's really badly hurt, and then he could potentially get hurt by Fabio. That's fair. But we're in the 10th round. Fabio is spent. He's basically out on his feet. He can't really move. So what's to say that he can muster up a big onslaught, to a big barrage of punches to come in? He could barely throw that one shot he threw. So I feel like with all of that together, you allow Justis Huni the opportunity to at least have a look to see, all right, are you okay to go or not? I just think it was a case of, and I could be wrong with this, but I think it's a case of, look, Fabio, obviously, he's the hometown guy. He's the Queensbury guy. It's a Queensbury show. It was a nightmare on the cards. Like, he's losing badly. Bang. Oh, okay. Well, let's see. Can we? Okay. Yep. Cool. We can wave this one off. Because I think if it was Fabio that went down, I don't think the referee would have been as quick to wave the hands, or as quick with the count. I think it would have been a little bit slower, in my opinion. But yeah, outside of that, he did what he needed to do, so it's no slight on him. But that defense needs working on.
100%.
Those tactics need working on.
100%.
Maybe that the Ben Davison factory isn't ultimately right for him. Maybe he needs someone that can actually teach him the proper fundamentals. Ben Davison might be a good person to devise a game plan, but in terms of the raw fundamentals, Fabio looks like he's actually regressed from previous fights. He wasn't getting as hit that much in fights post 3 fights ago. So again, he made the comparison. I've only got to be special for 1 second. That it tells me. So when they talk about the Wilder comparisons, he brought them on himself, and he didn't set up anything in that fight. Every time he threw a shot, he was throwing a shot for that one knockout. He didn't try to break anyone down. He didn't try to set anything out. So to me, I think he is starting to rely on his power, believing that that's the one ticket, and that's not what he needs.
No, it
if he's
isn't.
going to progress to the next level. Because guys with more power, more speed, or even just better timing than Justis Huni will take him out with the amount of shots that he took in that fight.
It's a conversation that we need to have with him, because I don't like the Wilder comparison. I understand when he said that about, I just need to have that one shot. And Dillian Whyte told him to calm himself when he said that at the press conference. I remember that, because he was like, stop talking. And that's a conversation I'd like to have with Fabio. But I don't seem like Wilder, because I see Fabio as having more skill. But I definitely agree with you about the defense. I was trying to listen into the corner advice, and the corner advice is limited. Very limited, as in the instruction that was given. So I'd be interested to hear what his actual game plan was and what their film study was, because mine was very minimal and I had my own preconceived ideas about Honey. But if they're the ones in the gym with that detailed film study, they should have seen all of that with Honey. They should have known really what he was about. And I think Fabio spent far too much time on the back foot. And he allowed Honey to pressure him. But good fight nevertheless. He got the win. Happy that he got the win. Commiserations to Honey, but I'll definitely be keeping my eye on him. Definitely.
Right. So, again, a lot of cards going on, but I think the only place to speak about, just before we go to another main topic, which we're going to be on, the card that just finished, in Australia, Jaya Patel versus Claudio Squale. Now, we're not going to talk about any of the undercards. Shout out to Conor Wallace, who got his victory. I'll be chatting to him again soon. But Jaya Patel versus Claudio Squale. Now, I'll start this one. I said previously on one of these, looking at all of the names that was in the IBF rankings, why they decided to go for the number 14 guy that absolutely nobody's heard of, when there was much better opposition further up the card, including Leonardo Mosquera, who
Scary.
people would have just seen recently because of the Chev Clark fight.
Yeah.
Mateus Masternak, Michal Sislak, Yves Ngarbu. There was so many people that even other people that maybe just spoke English that you could have made an event out of. I just feel like they basically, yes, it might have been a keep busy, a marking time fight until you can kind of go and get a unification. But I feel like the people in Australia, maybe they didn't care. Maybe they just want to see Jai knock someone over, but they deserved a better fight. Jai deserved a better opponent, and it was just five. It was just 5 rounds of beatdown with Squayo just about managing to land maybe 2 or 3 shots, and that's only when Jai allowed him inside the pocket, and that was just so he could do his work. He also Jai was robbed of a knockdown. It was a clean body shot in the ribs, way above the net, way above the belly button, and somehow the referee saw it as low. But yeah, other than that, it was business as usual. He's now stated, look, that unification has to be next. He said he's going to call out Zerdo if he beats Dorticos in a couple of weeks. So generally speaking, when I can't really ask you to talk about the fight because there's nothing really to talk about. But what do you think of the potential matchup between him and Zerdo Danny?
Yeah, well, it's a fight I've been looking forward to. It's a fight I've been wanting. I like the way Jai called him out. He said, "But the man's not here to defend himself because the guy was trying to instigate. Oh, is he running from you? Is he ducking from you?" And he said, "I don't want to. He's not here to
Trash
defend
talk.
himself, but I want that fight. Like you got to see me." And then his manager said, "Listen, we got to go over there. And I know Jai wants to be respectful, and he's all about respect, but sometimes you have to call him out and dog him." And that's why he's going to go over to his next fight and call him out. But yeah, I see Jai Opetaia winning, but it will be a good fight because Zerdo does have a good output and he has got good durability. He's got got some fat cells, so he can absorb shots. But yeah, it'll be. I know it's frustrating that this Sequoia guy, is a nobody, but out of all the champions and stuff like that, fighters these days, do you just want to see them fight once or twice a year in big fights, or would you sometimes want to see them in showcase fights just to keep them ticking over, just so you're seeing them? But what it is, I noticed that what Jai is doing, even though he's smashing up these guys, and people are like, "Oh, but you're banging over nobodies." What it is it's like people are waiting to see some kind of slip against these nobodies, and because he's knocking them out and dealing with them so devastating, I think he's putting the frighteners on him because he's dealing with these brothers like vicious. Yet there's no lapse in I'm overlooking this person or I'm not treating this person. He said it in the little preview videos. He was saying he's like I treat everyone the same, and I've got to deal with everyone like equally, and that's what he's doing. And I do feel that some of these champions, the way they talk a good game, but I don't think they're really willing to get in there with him. I think they want to try and get in with guys like Badu Jack or some other champions. They don't really want to see Jai. But Zerdo, he's gonna have to, and Oscar De La Hoya, you're gonna have to fight him, man, because you can't run forever, unfortunately. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that one.
I hear that. October, not even about the fight, but what was your thoughts on the possible unification if it happens next?
Yeah, I like it. Hot Video's quite rightly pointed something out that I had forgotten. Malik Scott's a trainer of Zerdo Ramirez.
One of his assistants, yeah.
Okay, one of his assistant trainers. Yeah, I remember seeing him in the corner now. So good spot because I'd forgotten about that. I do like the fight very much. I think Zerdo's a very good fighter as well. But the thing is, Opetaia is somebody that can turn up the heat when he chooses to. Then he can drop the pace. Then he can turn the heat back up again, which is what makes him dangerous. I do agree with you, Base, because I didn't know who the opponent was, but then I do agree with Danny. He's got to get out. He's got to be active. He's got to obviously stay where he is, push his position, and even some of these fighters, I bet he might have approached them and they might have turned him down. We don't know any ins and outs of that because I don't have Jai Opetaia as a fighter that turns down opportunities. He's very targeted. All he kept on going on about is, I wanted to get through this guy because I'm thinking about the unification. He's extremely focused and extremely targeted. So I think if anybody approaches him with any BS, maybe even tries to hustle some more money out of him because of his credibility and who he is as a fighter. He'll just be like, just get me someone that wants to fight. I don't want to know. I've got my path and I'm going to stick on it. I look forward to the fight between them. I like the fact that Jai Opetaia is trained by his father. I like that there. I like the fact that he's got that bond, and I think that bond makes him stronger mentally in the ring as well. Roll onto it. I like the fact that he said, "I'm not doing any trash talking," but then his manager Mick Francis, sends us all the messages all the time. He's like, "Yeah, well, we're stepping over there. We're going to go to his door and we're going to knock the door while he's there, rather than stand over here and talk about it." And I like that because it shows resilience and ambition and that focus, that target. That's what he wants, and he's going to go all out to get it. So yeah, I rate it.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Okay. Very quickly, I just want to give a shout out because I didn't get a chance to. I saw it a little bit while I was watching the Justice Huni fight, but Callum Simpson and Ivan Zuko. Callum Simpson, I got knocked down twice, once in the first and once in the fourth round, I believe. But he managed to stop Zuko, I believe, in the 11th. I was watching a bit of it, but I had to use my phone for other things. And Justice was on the TV. I mean, Fabio and Justice was on the TV. So yeah, just a quick shout out to him. Obviously, it seems to be the end of Boxer's current deal with Sky. He was saying initially that they had a big announcement. Apparently, there's an announcement coming in a couple of days. I don't know if we watched that show because I think we were all focused on the DAZN show. But generally speaking, just Danny, your thoughts on Boxer and I guess their run with Sky and how things have transpired and what they do next.
Yeah, so quickly on the Callum Simpson one, I didn't even see any of the knockdowns or happened to him. I just heard about it, but I did see a clip of when he dropped the Zuko guy, and to me, the ref just waved it off like a save a man. I know people talk about the Fabio one where the ref was like, "Okay, yeah, this is a nice opportunity." It looked like that was the same thing. But even worse, what happened with Callum Simpson? They thought, "Oh, perfect opportunity. Yep, we're near 11th round. Oh, yeah, perfect. Let's just wave this," because Zuko looked fine on his feet to me. But regarding the deal with Boxer and Sky, yeah, it's an interesting time because there's a lot of fighters. I think maybe why they wanted to get Adam Azim out. I think I heard it was his last fight on his contract, so they wanted to honor that. But his opponent got caught doing sweatsuits and saunas and all that type of stuff, which is against the British Boxing Board Control rulebook. But then, there's other fighters for the right price who are allowed to get away with that. So there's a bit of inconsistency there. People like Caroline Dubois, Ben Whitaker, it's risky times because they could get snapped up by other promoters. So Boxer's going to have to figure out a channel very fast. I don't know if TNT or somebody's going to try and pick them up, but it's a very risky time because there's showcase fighters who are going to need to be on TV. You cannot put them behind the wall or in your call on some Miranda Carter type business. So yeah, Ben Shalom, he's in a pickle right now. Yeah, but I hope he gets through this and he's got something in the works, but it's dangerous times right now.
You look, October, you obviously were the first one in that sort of Shalom and the Boxer camp from back in the day when they invited you in. What's your thoughts on how everything's gone?
Right, how it's gone. Okay, it's probably could have come to a better end because if it was successful, the proof would be in the pudding and they'd be signing another lucrative deal with an extension. So that speaks volumes for itself. They had a budget. I think it's been written about potentially £36 million, which they had to spread over the 4 years, I believe. Business decisions, signing things, signing fighters, budgets, just basic business acumen may have cost them that because they started off really well, putting on some glitz and glamour shows, doing a lot of stuff, and then it started to phase out towards the middle and the end. He mentioned something in the interview that he did with Ayman Khan from Seconds Out. So shout out to Ayman Khan, shout out to Seconds Out. A very informative interview, so thank you for that. Because I got some answers, but I also got some questions. And one of them was that basically Ben was complaining that other promoters were given a bigger budget than him. He also mentioned a possible second phase, which could include Sky, because he said he's still in negotiations. It hasn't come out that they've definitely said no to him. He is in negotiations with them, and there's going to be a big announcement. It's either one or the other. If it's going to be a big announcement, is it going to be with Sky? Because you can't be in negotiations with them and have this big announcement on the cusp of your tongue with another broadcaster. So it spoke a lot of volumes there, which basically says to me nothing's set in stone. If he does retain with Sky, could it be a smaller amount of fights? Are they going to recruit more boxing shows, say, for example, TM14? Are they going to get a Sky Sports boxing slot? Is it going to be like that? And each of them start to divvy up who gets what week, whatever? Or, potentially is he going to go to TNT? I hope not, because I'm not paying for that subscription again. I was quite happily cancelled that subscription when Queensberry left, and it was fantastic because they were all on DAZN, and then it leaves it there. Is, Ben Shalom going to go to DAZN? I don't see why not. GBM Sports there, Queensberry, Matchroom, obviously, there from the beginning. So we'll see how it goes. Is he going to lose his fighters? I was quite surprised there that you mentioned Adam Azim is potentially, but that was his potential last fight, but he hasn't had that yet. So that extends over, maybe, unless there's a time limit on it. Loads of answered questions, but loads of unanswered questions. They have got some good fighters. They have got fighters with potential. Will they want to lose them? Of course not. So, like Eddie Hearn said, I think it was on IFL TV, to shout out to them, said it was big boots to fill. And to be fair, we've given him a bit of stick. There has been that, but it was big boots to fill, and he was just basically never going to fill them. So we'll see what happens.
Okay. And look, I think one of the issues he may have is that a bunch of these fighters supposedly have in their contract that they have to be on TV, and I think it's actually signed that they have to be on Sky. I think that's in their deals. So imagine if that Sky contract doesn't, if it ends up not being the case, now these guys can legit walk away because terms of the agreement has been violated. I've heard that Sky are looking at doing sort of one-offs and like just basically seeing what cards they want to make and then signing off and okay, yeah, we'll give you this card or we'll give you a for this card. But outside of that, they, from what I've heard, they're not willing to commit to an actual full-blown schedule like they had before. So look, it's tough times. I mean, Caroline Dubois, if she's got the easiest path because she could just go to MVP. They'll definitely take her.
100%.
Ben Whitaker, likely, that Matchroom connection was there from the start. Callum Simpson, I reckon, would end up on Queensberry.
See, I can see him going to Matchroom,
I don't know. I don't think they've got enough investment in the 168 division.
Okay.
Basically after obviously what happened yesterday. Now, obviously, you're fighting for the European title, but sort of getting dropped twice against a guy who's had 21 fights, but 17 of them have been 6-rounders. It doesn't necessarily look that good on you, kind of thing. So,
Lauren Price MVP as well.
Yeah, more than likely.
And Carrie's Heart in Store.
I think she'd probably end up going more like one of the. No, I think she could end up on like a Wasserman or a GBM, Carrie's Heart in Store.
Serious?
Yeah. I think she'd get a lot of work that way, and I think that they'll remember those lot. They do a lot of cross promotions. They do a lot of collaboration because they don't have necessarily all the big platforms themselves. But look, either way, his whole roster is in jeopardy. Or the roster of the top names. That everyone else, like they'll be where they are, innit?
What do you think will happen though, Base? Because I get what you're saying, and like the vultures will be out for the for the cream of the crop, the rich pickings.
Mm-hmm.
But what do you think's the more than likely outcome? Because I was convinced, like you said, about Sky giving them certain slots and potentially introducing other promoters on board as well. So we got week in, week out, or month, whatever. Do you think that's the more likely thing to happen, or am I just like, I don't know, hoping that they stay with Sky? I don't know. I'm trying to see if I've got a bias head on it.
I think that they will kind of try and do a case by case basis. But the problem with that is if you do that, then you have no way to build a schedule. Look at PBC with Amazon Prime. They did 5 shows last year from going down from like, I think 17 or 19 shows the year before. purely because Amazon were deciding, okay, well, we'll give you a slot for this one, not for that one, but everything had to be pay-per-view.
Yeah. All
So
right.
if that's the case, I mean, but if you look at it, let's be honest, like GBM right now is on the zone. Do
Yes.
they want the Sky contract? I don't know, because I think Izzy is doing quite well with the slots he gets on the zone.
Yep.
He's not combating with anything else for the most
Nope.
part. Like all the other little small promoters, they're all on the zone as well. Will the small hall promoters be big enough for people to even bother to tune in on Sky? Because most people really watch Sky for that, like they watch it for the casual fighters more time than
Yeah.
not. And then you find the little gems on the undercard afterwards, but you need the big name.
Mm,
Whereas the zone, because it is such a sports heavy platform based
true.
for boxing, you're gonna get more people who are just there for the boxing. So I don't think it would work with Sky if they didn't have a big name promoter there and then with everyone else kind of housed around it. And I
Yeah.
just don't think, unfortunately, that Ben is that big name promoter. He started off, like I said, like Jay Z said, had a spark when he started, but now you just, and I won't say the rest, but you know what I mean? There was, the candle burned bright, but it burned
Mm,
fast. And that unfortunately seems like what it looks to be. But look, I think Ben's a cool guy. He has some weird tendencies, but overall, I like a lot of the staff at Boxers guys. So I hope that they do figure that out and they get something sorted, or they go to the zone and I can just have everything in one place and pay one subscription.
imagine.
Although to be fair, I've got Sky and TNT for football anyway. So yeah.
Nah, I'm not
Um,
doing TNT again.
No, I don't.
Okay, now look, we've gone through that. I think it's time to talk about one of the big talking points of this weekend. It was supposed to be a nice little fight between Keyshawn Davis and Edwin De Los Santos, and Keyshawn Davis decides to come in 4.3 pounds overweight. So not eat. So goes to show he didn't even try to make the weight.
What the hell?
Maybe didn't really offer any apology. So we thought, okay, that's bad enough. Then on the fight night, shout out to Abdullah Mason, ended up taking the main event spot against Jeremiah Nakatila. Good performance. We'll talk about that in a moment. But Keyshawn's older brother, Kelvin Davis, ends up getting beat by Nahir Albright, which was a surprise. I thought Kelvin would have enough just to get by Albright, although Albright is he's a very good fighter. But I think it was a majority decision. One card was a draw, and then he won the others. I think it was 96, 94, 97, 93. It was a
Okay.
comprehensive, good victory.
Okay.
Goes backstage, and then all of a sudden gets accosted by Keyshawn and Keon Davis in his dressing room for absolutely no reason. Apparently, then gets headbutted by Keyshawn. He shows the lump and the little scar that he got based on that. They end up in this another brawl outside where Keyshawn's got his 2-year-old son in the stroller in the mix of a melee with, I guess, people must have came from the side hearing about what happened to Albright. I'm gonna give my take and I'm gonna let you guys go because this whole situation has frustrated and annoyed me from it happened. I've been a big advocate for Keyshawn Davis, even after the failed drugs test, because it wasn't technical drugs, it was cannabis,
Weed.
weed,
Mm.
fine. But you lost the victory to Nahir Albright because of it, funny enough. Now, this guy comes back. He's done nothing except do his job and beat your brother. Like, you have already put yourself in a horrendous situation by not number one, not trying to make weight. Number two, not trying to make any apologies, talking about, yeah, look, I've just been here too long. I couldn't make the weight. Bear in mind, you made the weight perfectly 4 months ago. What have you done in 4 months why you now can't even get down to 135.6 or 35.6? Like, why are you 4 pounds over? That clearly means that you did not bother. You're in your hometown. You're in the town that you come from where people have paid tickets to see you fight. And
Mm.
you've probably gone there thinking, oh, well, De Los Santos, oh well, he'll fight anyway, so I don't really want to make the weight. He'll still fight. They still get to see me. Nah, brother, this guy said, you didn't even try to make weight. There ain't no way. I don't care what money you want to offer me. The fight's off.
Yeah.
I've put myself to make this 135 after being out the ring for 2 years, and you couldn't be bothered. And you think because it's your hometown, I'm gonna let you do that on the show. I respect Evan De Los Santos for that. I
Yeah.
don't like Samson Lukowicz, but I respect him for what he did there. And from what I heard, De Los Santos got his full purse, or at least got some of it. So
No, full.
he got his full purse.
Oh.
Brilliant. Lovely. Lovely. And
Even
Keyshawn
better.
was supposed to get $1 million for that fight. Now he's $1 million down plus his sparring, all that. Good, serves him right.
Oh,
So there's that. That's one thing. So you think, all right, keep yourself to yourself, be calm, be cool. No, this brother's out. He's all out in the crowd, laughing and joking with people like you shouldn't be ashamed at this point, yamming on popcorn and all other stuff. What like what
no shame.
what optics do you think that looks good, Mister Businessman? That's the thing with me. If you were a businessman, your company would be bankrupt right now. You would be in liquidation because none of that made sense. Then your brother, bearing in mind, here's the joke: Kelvin lost. Kelvin's the one telling these men, "Relax, what you doing?" Yes, he's the older brother, so you would think he's got the most sense out of them. But why are you, man, jumping a man in his changing room
Insane.
for winning a fight? What? Because it's in your hometown and you feel like you're protected like that? That's pure bitch move. That's I don't even know the words I want to say because I don't want to get anyone demonetized or shut down. But I'm just told I'm off the train now. I
Yeah.
respected this guy. I respected his journey. I respected his hustle. I've seen all his shoulder programming. I think he's still got skills, but I'm telling you now, not even just that. I've heard some other stuff from him recently. He's been glazing Tank Davis for some reason, even though you really should have been looking for a fight with him. He's been talking about he don't want to fight Raymond Murataya for the IBF belt because they put the hydration clause on me. Then people tell him nope, there's no hydration in the unification. Oh well, what do I want to pay for more sanctioning fees for? Basically, the truth is the reason why he don't want to fight Murataya or fighting for that belt is because guess who's next in line when they win their next fight? It's Mr. Andy Cruz, the guy that beat you 5 times in the amateurs. You
Ah,
don't want those problems,
Oh,
especially knowing that you're going to be tight at the weight anyway, and he's quite comfortable. The same guy
okay.
that's been talking for the last 2 years since he turned pro is like, well, boy, Keyshawn,
Let's
let's
have
run
it.
it back. Let's run it back. You didn't want those problems. And it's clear to see that now you're doing any and everything to get away from that fight. But not only that, you're doing any and everything to damage the star brand that you had. Because you were the next in waiting in America in terms of superstars. You had the following in your town. You had the fan friendly style. You could speak well. You could market yourself well. You had everything going for you. Fucked up with the drug test, but people forgot and forgave because it was only marijuana. It wasn't performance enhancing. Now your reputation is in the gutter, and I don't know how you get it back. You know what, big man? Good luck. October.
Mic drop. Mic drop.
What's
Mic
your
drop.
opinion on this
That
situation?
was just,
I have to get off.
but you know what? But mic drop moment, base. That's pure facts. Can't disagree with absolutely anything. I think it's appalling. I think it was classless. I think, like you said, you've worked so hard to build the brand, and then you just ruin it. The attitude is very unprofessional. I agree with everything you say, base. Anything I say is just going to be a repetition, and it won't sound as good. You were there with the hard hitting facts, so good luck to him. I concur.
All right, Danny. Like I know you got some sauce to add to this. Bring that Blue Borough energy. Let's go.
yeah. I'm with Normally, I don't agree with a lot of things Tim Bradley says, but with Tim Bradley was hit the nail on the head. I'm off, as you said. I'm off the train. I can't respect this guy. It just goes to show that that family, they can't beat him in a fair one. Um, one way or another, they cannot beat him in a fair one. So they've got to, take the weed, even though minor, but still, you got it's a banned substance. Then your big brother gets beat by him. Then you got to jump him 2-on-1 in the changing room. It's like, so you've got like he's got something on your family now. So this, but I just think he's a punk, especially as you've got your child even in the arena. You should be on dad mode. You're not even fighting. You ain't even got a fight, and you're there brawling like some hoodlum. Like, come on, you've got to stop this like narrative where you want to give, oh, you can't take the hood out of me. Like, come on, you're meant to be a businessman. It's about branding. You're with Bob Arum. Surely Bob
Yeah,
Arum's got to do something about this. He's
you
got to
know
get rid of
more.
this. This is not good for for his business. He shouldn't. I don't think Bob will want to be associated with people like this. Keyshawn, I don't know. Fair enough. He's done the weed thing. He's failed weight, which is disgraceful. But I need to know what's up with these snack programs. What's in his snack? Is there something in that snack? Because it seems like some kind of rage going on with this young man. something's happening with this rage. There's a bit too much rage going on for my liking. You know, he's talking about, oh, I tried to make weight the morning last night. I tried. No, you didn't, because you would have known from your check weigh-ins from how long ago, or if you was getting tight or not. And I don't think he was really tight, but I didn't even realize that Andy Cruz and
Nah,
them kind of guys was hot on his tail, Muratala, and that was on his heels,
nah.
and he's, you know, licky with Tank Davis. So now I'm thinking this whole ploy of I can't make the weight is duck. I can't make it, so I've jumped up to avoid. So now, thank you for that, base. Now I realize what this really is. He is just ducking smoke, and now he's trying to do some 2-on-1 Russian brothers. Like, come on, this guy is not serious. He's not serious. He's not serious in the ring or out the ring. I just think he's a punk. He's let down the whole of Virginia. Yeah, he's just a donut. Yeah.
And the thing that makes it, I mean, look, he was gonna have to move up. He is a very big 135. I get that, but like I said, if you made it 4 months ago, there's no way that you can't make it by at least, you know, if you're gonna be 136, okay, cool. But 139 just tells us that you didn't try. Yeah, but and yeah. Anyway,
And Abdullah, the way he went on at him at the press conference was really weird.
and I didn't watch the
Yeah,
press. I
he was
heard
just,
about it after, but I didn't see it
yeah,
I
because
it's
saw it. He's
weird.
probably trying to stick it on him. Like,
Yeah,
I
just
think
like
he's just trying to-
why are you doing that? What's the
I
point?
know
That you-
Abdullah called him out. Was then he said, "Look, I want to fight. I'm
Yeah,
up in the
but
WBO rankings. I want to fight him. I get all of that, but clearly,
he
even
was picking beef from there, man.
if you remember from the what's it called, the thing he did with Andre Ward, what's it called, all the
Art of Ward.
Art of Ward, that's it. Yeah, the
Okay.
podcast. He was saying, well, you know, Abdullah Mason's a good guy. What do you think about that? And he's like, he ain't ready for that fight. He goes, yeah, but you say you want to fight you. So what's up? He goes, yeah, but I said I wanted to fight Devin Haney. I knew I wasn't ready at that time, but you know, you say what you say. I'm like, okay, cool. So clearly that's where he's tried to do the big bro kind of thing with him. But yeah, look, like I said, Abdullah, he's a fair one. The Fabius, what they call them, the Mason Five, all of the brothers, that whole family. I've seen, the
Okay.
way that they live. They do their prayers in the morning. Everyone very respectful. Abdullah Mason is, to me, I feel like he's the last hope. If
Yeah,
he can't stay on the straight and narrow, and
We're freaked.
21, he seems to be extremely level-headed, very nice, young, his dad, the whole family, like beautiful, everything that they do, that I've seen, I'm like, yes, this is the guy. If he can't crack it, then America's just, it's in the bin, because that self-destruct is that self-destruct gene is very hard, and it is very present. I'm hoping that he doesn't succumb to the same issue.
Right.
Shout out to Abdullah Mason, because I didn't see all of the fight, but him and Nakatila, it was almost punch perfect.
It was.
Like the skills, he is the next one up, as long as he stays on the straight and narrow, keeps calm. 21 years old, like that is my that's the guy. That's the one that I have my hopes on right about now. Did any of you watch the fight? What's your thoughts?
Yeah, I watched it. You know,
Highlights
the
for
way he
me.
pot shot him with the right hand, had man rocking and rolling. He dissected him. It was really good stuff. I was really impressed with him. And as you said, but I think he is the goods. I think with the dad's not, like, for instance, I think Floyd Schofield as a kid is cool, but because he's got a mad dad, he could end up getting like taken off the rails. But with Abdullah Mason's dad, they all
He's
seem
proper.
they all seem wholesome. So I think he'll be okay. I think he's
Yes.
gonna be the one. So yeah, fingers crossed. But I think with that setup, he looks like they're gonna be fine. So yeah, great performance. It just goes to show you that clean hearts win, because he came with a clean heart at the press conference. Keyshawn Davis looked like he wasn't just trying to big
He was
bro him.
beef
He looked like he wanted to try and set something off where he could
Yeah,
try
he was
and
beef
punch
seeking.
him on the stage. Like he wanted to fight him.
He was
on the
fishing
stage.
for beef.
Yeah, he was pushing for him to say something where he could attack him.
Yep.
But Mason didn't give him that opportunity, and then Abdullah ended up being the main event, taking the show,
Imagine.
stealing the thunder, and he's gonna steal his fans now.
And he would have got more money for having to be main event as well.
Okay.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying. So you see how God works. So yeah, it's good. It's good stuff. Well done, Abdullah, for staying professional, and Yeah,
Right, October. I
definitely.
know you watched highlights, so you don't even have to talk about the fight. But
Yeah.
Abdullah Mason, what's your thoughts and opinions?
I like the setup, like you said. I like the family setup. I've mentioned it before about Jay Patai having his father as a coach. I saw it with Abdullah Mason, especially when he won his fight the other day, and his dad was giving him that advice, even though he hadn't even had his hand raised yet. He was still giving that talking to. I didn't know it was his father. I was just saying, shout out to the coach. Was commented, and people like, that's his dad. So he's in good hands. We do know that sometimes the dads can take center stage, and it can often ruin it for the fighters. But I think with these guys, they seem more level-headed, and I don't want to preach the future that I don't know, but I'm literally keeping my fingers crossed for him. I like his style. He's compact. He was bullying his opponent, knows how to push him back, knows how to take the lead in the ring, which is nice to see. He just didn't seem to want to let his opponent get anywhere near comfortable, and was constantly trying to push him back to say, I'm the one that's running this dance. And I like that about him. So sky's the limit for the young man. I wish him all the best. I kind of like that all of this good stuff has happened to him because of, like I said, from the press conference, I saw that and I was like, why is that happening? Why are we even here? Because I like Keyshawn Davis. He was one of the fighters that I looked up to as well. But it seems as if the tables are going to turn. And like Danny said, clean hearts win. So I wish him nothing but the best. He's got a fan from us here in the UK. So we'll definitely be keeping an eye on him.
Absolutely.
Okay, good stuff. And oops, one sec. Let me move this over. Reason being, so I think now we'll end it with the news that kind of came out yesterday with Dillian White and Moses Atalma, which is funny because Nelson Heiser, or Herser, apologies,
I say, yeah.
he called out Moses, said, look, I want to fight Moses next. Make that fight for me, 40 years old. I think I did speak with you guys previously, and also I did a video where I was talking about heavyweights that Matchroom should have looked at to try and build their roster, and he was one of the
I
people that I spoke
remember.
about.
Yeah.
So it's funny to have now Frank, because obviously someone has seen that video and decided to, all right, let's
Let's
you know,
get him.
he's unbeaten.
I remember you mentioned that name because I didn't know who he was.
Yeah. So look, I mean, he was fighting Patrick Corte, so you can't take too much of that. He's got the height advantage, he's got the speed. Corte very slow, cumbersome, a bit like Squayo. You kind of could see the shots coming a mile away.
Okay.
He's got a little bit of the old school Tyson Fury about him, but with the punch power, or at least the punch setup of like a Vladimir Klitschko, like a lesser, a lesser skilled version. But that's kind of what I saw. He had that. He definitely had the herky jerky, that sort of movement, but he had decent pop, and he had good reactions as well.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, he wanted to face Moses Atalma. Moses is probably, then when Moses started smiling, I was like, I wonder why he's smiling, and then I stopped because I've already got a fight in the works, so you have to wait. But yes, we've heard that potentially he is facing Dillian White. Ray Ford is facing Anthony Kakache, and there is another fight on that card.
Nick Ball.
Nick Ball and
I can't remember his name. Sorry.
no, I know who but he's a guy. He's coming up from 122 pounds.
Okay.
Sam Goodman from Australia. That's who it
Oh,
is.
thingy, you already punched him up.
Yeah. No. The thing is, he didn't. Remember, he was supposed to face Inoue.
Yeah.
He was supposed to face Inoue, and then got the injury on 2 occasions. So with the cut eye. So I was like, yeah. But this is for me. I've said it about, and I just want to talk about like the Nick Ball thing for a moment. Look,
Yeah.
I like Nick Ball. He's an action fighter. It's all action. I appreciate it, but they're just basically they're feeding him puddings, basically, in the nicest possible sense. His last 3 fights, if this one is now about to be a layup, and people say, "Oh, but he had the 2 hard fights back to back." But guess what? You had two voluntary title shots. Like, it's not like, oh, you had to fight, like, the killers of the division. There was no, you got gifted 2 title shots. One of them you got a draw, which I believe was correct. The second one, I believe you got a gift decision. But since then, you've been on easy street, and now you're fighting Sam Goodman, who is a legit 122 pounder. Like, he is not going to look like a 126 pounder next to Nick Ball, and Nick Ball is not the biggest of them either.
Mm-hmm.
So that just goes. So I don't really like that part, but the reason I think this video has been titled "Bad Business," apart from the Keyshawn Davis stuff, is Dillian White taking the Moses Atama fight. As much as I don't understand the reason for it. If I'm gonna be now, look, Dillian hasn't looked great recently. He's obviously he hasn't had the last fight, so he didn't even get the chance to get that last bit of rust off. So he's been out of the ring for a little while. Obviously, the hand is a bit mash up, but Moses Atama is new generation.
Yeah.
It's like even if you were say to beat him, that doesn't help you at this point because that you need to be in the generation of the guys of the same generation of you, but the people that are closest either to the belts or can get you closest to a belt. As much as Moses has a high ranking, everyone will say, "Oh, well, he's 20 years inexperienced." You won't get the full
Won't
amount of
get
credit
credit.
you need if
Okay.
you win that fight. But the high probability is that you get iced and quite badly because even your experience, you're not. I don't think you're fast enough at this point in time to be able to deal with the speed of this young boy. The whole thing just doesn't make sense to me. And as much as I am, I think I'm maybe the biggest Dillian fan out of all three of us. I could be wrong. Maybe it's joint, but I don't like this move for him. This doesn't feel like good business. This does feel like bad business to me. And if it's just about a big check and okay, I'm gonna give this boy some rounds, and you're taking that position, cool. I get that probably the world titles are well past you at this point, but
Mm.
I I don't like this fight for you, especially after the like I said, the injuries and being out of the
Okay.
ring as long as you've been out and stuff. It just doesn't seem right. But that's my opinion. October, I'm gonna bring it back to you because obviously you're a very big Dillian White supporter as well. What's your
Yeah.
thought?
Um, Dillian will fight absolutely anyone, and he actually doesn't care about losing, about stuff like that. He just wants to fight. I guess that there could have been the Lawrence Okoli fight for him. Obviously, we don't know what's happening with Joe Joyce. That went in the bin ages ago. There is fights that he could have took because at the end of the day, Lawrence Okoli is WBC #1. So why not take that fight? They know each other. Even though Lawrence Okoli is still a newer generation to Dillian, he's still closer to him than, like you've mentioned there, Moses, because Moses is the new world, isn't he? So I get it. On the surface of it, it looks like they're just feeding Dillian to Moses. They say you're only as good as your last fight, which he fought Tete, and then maybe you couldn't complain that much, but then you saw Tete go out like that with Fraser Clark. So then it adds more like, okay. I'd say that Moses is the favourite. Moses is definitely the favourite. But I know that Dillian is still dangerous, and I guess that's why they're making the fight. I guess there's some good money involved. I don't know, like the ins and outs of it. It hasn't even been officially announced as yet, but everyone's talking about it like it has. So I guess in the next few days we'll see. But I know that Dillian just doesn't. He doesn't care who he fights, and I can say that because I've spoken to him several times, like not on camera. He just wants to fight. And make it, make his money and look after his family. That's his kind of opinion. I think he's gone from, when he was waiting like 700 years for the WBC, he had his heart set on Wilder. That never came out. And then he ends up getting, knocked out by Tyson Fury. I think from then he was just like, you know what? I've just got to make some money and I'll fight anyone. And that's it really. Money talks, I guess. He'll be paid well for that fight. He
Little
will be.
caveat to the Tete thing. Look, it looks bad in the light, but let's also remember that Tete was vehemently protesting being stopped. He was still
By
lucid.
Fraser.
Yeah,
Yeah,
at the
yeah.
time it was a bit of a special by the referee. So
We've had a
just
few.
wanted to kind of put that caveat
No,
because
I
obviously
hear that.
it looks
On
one
paper,
round. Yeah,
if you
but
didn't
when you
want,
see it, you could clearly see that
yeah,
Tete was still had a bit left in him, and
okay.
he wasn't getting hit with the shots. But yeah,
Hmm.
Danny, what's your thoughts on Dillian and Moses?
Yeah, it's a very it's a strange fight. It's like I feel that in one sense you'd think is Dillian just being used as a name to build and basically pass the torch on to Moses, but then as October saying that she spoke with Dillian and he doesn't really care. He just wants the fights and the money now. Um, and yeah, as you said, even if he does beat him, Moses is not. I don't even say he's the next gen down. He's 2 generations
Yeah,
behind him
two gen down. Yeah.
because there's the beginning guys. Dillian's at the end part, and then there's the middle ground guys in there.
Lawrence Coley.
Yeah, mid 20s to
Mm,
early 30s type thing. So it's 2 gens down. So it's like you're just the old man who's going to get mashed up, kind of like when
mm,
Amir Khan got the Barrera fight. Like we know
okay.
that's not really Barrera you're fighting, but you're getting the scout.
Okay.
Um, so even if Moses does beat him, history will show that it's like when Frank Bruno beat up Joe Bugner. You're not really going to get much credit
Credit.
off of it. It just sounds good for the time, but when the annals of history play out, it's not really going to be a good scalp. Say as when Povetkin knocked him out, or when AJ did, when it was even Stevens and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So it's just one of them things to keep Moses busy and a brand name to get him more familiar with the general public, because so far Moses hasn't fought anybody that the general public would really know and understand about. Whereas Dillian White is a
He's a
brand name,
name.
a
He's a
household name. He's
yeah.
had remember he was pay-per-viewing and he weren't even
No belt.
no belt.
Yeah.
So he was
Yeah.
pay-per-viewing O2 Arena sellouts
He's a
and stuff like
star.
that. So he's
He's a
done very
star.
well for himself, Dillian, at the end of the day.
Yeah.
He's got a business outside of boxing. He's got his management company. He's
Mhm.
got his gym in Portugal, which I think could be a great setup for fighters in the future, where instead of going out to Marbella or Tenerife or Fuerteventura, they can go out to that place in
Portugal.
Portugal, which is
Mm.
just down the road, nice and hot and stuff like that. And they can use his facilities. I'm sure he knows how to train well, and
I think he'll make an epic trainer. I've said this already.
yeah, so I don't think he's gonna really to be bothered. He knows that, yeah, Moses, if you get me, you're only beating the faded version of me anyway. He seems like he's a realistic guy, and yeah,
It's
maybe
not
it's a
full
great.
blown though, is it? Even base, do you think it's a full blown that he's going to lose?
It's not a full blown, but
No, it's not.
it's a very likely scenario. Like
Yeah,
I
yeah,
can't lie.
All right, I know.
Punch. I don't even really give him a puncher's chance. I think he would have to control the fight, make it early. Like he's not gonna. I don't think he'd win on knockout. He'd have to be like control it. But ultimately, if I'm being real, I don't do
Yeah.
predictions before the time because
All right.
obviously it's my content. But I could only give him about between 15 to 20%.
Serious.
And that's just because it's not even because he's got the mind. His mind is sharp.
Yeah.
He's got the experience,
Yeah.
but the legs ain't good no more.
yeah.
Not for someone that's 20 years old that has been fighting at since they was like 11, 12, has been
Yeah.
fighting at a lighter weight. So Moses has got that natural middleweight type movement, and then he put size on top of it.
Yep.
Whereas Dillian started fighting later on when he was already a big guy,
True.
a big man. So
True.
it's different dynamics, and obviously his legs ain't been good since he realistically got shot in one of them. Like
Yeah.
there's a lot going on in that situation.
Yeah.
It's
I
very,
hear.
very harsh to think that he will get that. And this is someone who everyone knows I'm the biggest Dillian White. I've always
Yeah.
backed Dillian White no matter what happens.
And he knows it as well.
Yeah, but I
He
can't,
knows it as well.
like I said, if he's just gonna fight and he just wants to have fights now and that's it.
He wants to fight.
If it's just that, you know what, get your money, big man. But if it's a case of you actually want this fight to then lead to something else, it doesn't make sense. Like I said, bad business in that sense.
Yeah, and lastly, it is like an old man thing. But Dillian, if he is going to win, he is going to have to try and old man him. But Moses does seem too sharp, too fast.
Sharp,
Remember,
and he-
Dillian's got a child older than Moses.
Yeah.
to be fair, so have I. So yeah, that puts it into perspective.
No, but I'm saying like Moses is young enough to be his child, because
Yeah.
Dillian had a child at 14 years
13.
old. He's 16 years older than Moses. You see what I'm saying?
Man.
So that's what I'm saying. It's 2 gens down. It's a lot going on there. There's a lot.
Boy. Well, I mean, look, shout outs to everyone on that card. Hopefully they can I mean, look, it's like an accompaniment card to some other event they're doing. It's a free fight card, which is not something you usually see at Riyadh season.
Okay.
That's what the Ring normally do. But you know what? I looked at the fights themselves, and I just thought these don't really seem Riyadh, if you know what I mean. Like they seem like they should just be regular Matchroom Queensbury type cards. This doesn't seem like what Riyadh season do, but it is one of their out of season type things. So
Mm.
hopefully it will be if anything, let's at least let it be a spirited effort and it goes some rounds, 6, 7 rounds, something like that, 8 rounds or more. If it can go the distance, brilliant. So both guys can get what they need out of it. But yeah, outside of that, look, there was a couple other cards on. I just want to give a shout out to Beatrice Ferreira, who beat Maria Ines Ferreira on the most valuable prospects card. Brie Howling got upset defeat against Naomi Cardenas on that card as well. There was a brilliant knockout from what's his name, Alexis. I think his name's Alexis Capoldo. It was on the prelims part. Anyone who wants to check out on the YouTube highlights, they definitely put that out. It was a very fun looking knockout. Other than that, shout out to Selfa Barrett. He fought yesterday and nobody knew about it, but got third round TKO. So his relationship with
Gallagher.
Joe Gallagher, is looking like it may start off bearing fruit.
Franchon Cruz got a
Yeah, I haven't even watched that, Franchon. And what about the heavyweight guy?
Stanley Wright. He got dropped heavy, but lost on a technical decision due to a cut. But he was well behind. He got well beat. But yeah, Franchon Cruz. It was she got the W, but it was very controversial. Most people had the Mexican lady winning the fight.
Okay.
But Brandon, I guess. So yeah.
Well, I'll check it out. Salita Promotions. That was
Shout out to also my guy Junto Nakatani, 6th round stoppage victory. Smashed up the to cut. What's his name?
No,
Mashida's eye.
I think it was the 7th round. It got stopped.
Okay, I thought it was the 6th. But yeah, so yeah, dealt with him. And
didn't get a chance to watch that one, but I will be checking it out. Yeah. Also Hemp. What's his name? Hemp Hill against what's his face from the. It was on the card, the boxer card. What's his name? Tony put it in the chat earlier. Let me see if I can find it. The American guy, the former big amateur. I know someone else will probably put it back in, but Mark Jeffers versus Sean Hemphill. Apparently, he said that fight was a real barn burner. I only saw a little bit of it, so anyone who wants to check it, feel free to do so. But I think that's pretty much the main topics that we've got. Is there anything else that we've missed that we want to bring up?
Just lastly, rest in power to James Cook.
Yes, of course.
That's the second, Jamaican uncle of ours who we've lost this week, unfortunately. Great fighter, former British, Commonwealth, European champion. Also a trainer as of recent to Anthony Yard. And it was a shock to the industry and the boxing fraternity, because he was just at the amateur show last week with Tony Cisse, and he looked fine in the pictures. I saw him with everybody like Wayne Alexander and Derek Williams and stuff like that. So yeah, it's very unfortunate.
Look, it goes to show that as much as people look okay, sometimes they're not. Always gotta try and keep love in your heart as much as you can. Try to be I say a good person, but good isn't something you are, it's something you do. And try to be good and do good every day. And hopefully when it comes to the end of your cycle, you reap the benefits and the rewards. Yes, rest in eternal power, Mr. James Cook, and also Mr. Mike McCallum. Jamaica's taken a hit this week. It hasn't been nice. October, anything you want to say about that?
No, just that, obviously rest in peace to James. It's nice to see that his team have put out things on their social media to say, their thanks to him, especially obviously in being part of Anthony Yard's team. So obviously they've put some bits out for him, which is good to see because they would have worked with him more recently. Never had the pleasure, but always heard good stuff about him. And yeah, listen, guys, all of you guys in the chat, we really appreciate you. If you can, sub to the channels. I'm enjoying this working with Base, working with Danny, and when Maestro can get in, there is a time delay difference. I get that, but we are a solid team. We're not going anywhere, and we're here to keep you guys entertained, keep you in the loop with what's going on, and obviously give you our opinions. You might not agree with them, but you're here listening. So I guess that you'll understand some of it, even if you don't agree with it. So we appreciate you guys as well. I need to let you know that because there's 96 of you here in the chat that are spending your time on a Sunday with us. So yeah, much respect goes out to you guys too.
Lovely. And look, I guess with that, ladies and gentlemen, we will end it there. Danny, I know you've been itching, so go. You do what you do, guy.
There you have it, guys. It's another episode of Fight Talk Live with Danny Glover, Base the Kid, and October Red. And remember, guys, persistence beats resistance. You know where it is.